Math can solve its own problems, okay? For those of you who are new here, hi, I'm Laura, and I'm gonna just do whatever I want. I have reached a point in my life where I think a lot of us, there are no rules anymore, is what I'm trying to say. I've had exactly this much of my coffee. If you're watching the video, you can see very little coffee this morning. I did not sleep very well. Life is lifing. Anyway, if you're new here, I got laid off a while back and diligently applied for hundreds, if not thousands, of jobs that I'm overqualified for, frankly, for a lot of them, and got nowhere in the corporate world, right? And I'm not super woo-woo, but I'm a little woo-woo. I just finally was like, you know what? Maybe that's a sign that I don't belong there. And honestly, financial issues are always going to be there, right? The financial issues are a big deal. And listen, it is a lot, right? But if you take away the financial issues that I face from not having my corporate job and corporate big girl money, if you take that away, it's been so freeing to not have to answer to a corporate overlord in any aspect of my life. Because think about it, right now, if you have a corporate job, right now, can you go on your LinkedIn and say whatever you want? Do you truly have that freedom? You don't, I do. And that's why this podcast exists. Because I'm going to say the fucking things. Not everybody can. And I think that we need people like me to say the things, to do the things, to ignite thought-provoking ideas into people and to get conversations started and to empower people to have those conversations in their communities or in their homes or at their church. And then we need people who have the corporate jobs to join our Patreons to fund our work. Do you see how that works? That's how society should work, right? We help each other in ways and we fill each other's needs in ways that we can't. The phrase "it takes a village" doesn't just apply to children. We all have to take care of each other in different ways. And listen, you got a boss that's a conservative weirdo. Let me know about him. Or her, or them, whatever. Anybody can be a conservative weirdo, but if you have one, girly pops. Because I'm not afraid to call people what they are. Do you know what I mean? This week on the podcast, we are talking about this creator who I love. Her name is Morgan. She is inspiring. We're going to talk about her and the Jasmine Crockett Talarico Senate race, the primary race that happened yesterday in Texas. We're also going to talk about the religious girlies are fighting, apparently. And then we're going to talk about why you should just not read the comments. You should just don't read the comments. On your own post specifically, just don't do it. Let's go. So some few weeks back during the campaigning of Jasmine Crockett and James Talarico, Morgan_TT on TikTok, Morgan be talking on Threads. I'll have her information linked down below. Do not harass this woman. If I find out that you have been harassing this woman specifically, I will hire an Etsy witch to poop in the top part of your toilet. Please don't do that. That's fucking gross. Leave Black women alone. But she was a Talarico supporter. It's been fascinating to see someone who lives in Texas who is an advocate against voter suppression and has been very successful in getting people motivated with her large platform to get out and vote and be more active in civics and understand how things work. And she answers questions very clearly so that people who don't understand or have never been in politics can understand it. She's incredible. I love her. Go support her. She's amazing. We're going to watch a TikTok video from her in which she talks about how James Talarico called Colin Allred a mediocre Black man. Colin Allred is a Democratic representative in Texas who James thought he was going to be running his campaign against instead of Jasmine Crockett. Now, what What James Talarico was trying to do is relate to a black woman by uplifting another black woman, but he did it by dissing a black man, by disparaging a black man. And like, that's not like gross. So let's watch Morgan's video.
James Talarico told me that he signed up to run against a mediocre black man, not a formidable and intelligent black woman. And I want to explain why this is problematic, especially as he shifted his current approach in the Texas Senate race. Now, before I get into the conversation that led to this comment, I want to put it out there that I supported Talarico and planned on voting for him before Jasmine Crockett joined the race. I'm voting for James Talarico. So I planned on voting for him when he was running against Colin Allred, the mediocre black man that he's referring to. Now, no matter how you feel about Colin Allred, the man is an attorney, a former professional football player, and a former congressman. But I'm not bringing this forward because I want to bring any more negativity to this race. I care way too much about Texas to do something like that. But I do think it is my responsibility to bring something like this forward. And I do think it also indicates some things that are pretty important when it comes to how he's moving with his campaign. The obvious intimidation of Jasmine Crockett, along with the racially charged disrespect of Colin Allred as a black man, indicates something deeper than just a overly familiar comment that is coded in a compliment for a black woman. This explained to me why he would jump at the opportunity to play victim at just the mere thought as anything other than positive being out about him. And it also explains why he would say something like attack ads is what she planned on doing, when the actual video he's referring to says nothing of the sort. Using this language when you have the privilege of being a white man, when people across the political spectrum are also using the angry black woman that's aggressive trope to attack her, is microaggressive. That's why I previously stated that this is an indication of his insecurity around his candidacy, or it's indicating that he's had something to hide. So getting into the conversation that led to the comment from James, I was angry and concerned after receiving an email and a text message from James Carville on Talarico's behalf for donations. James Carville is a Democratic strategist that has made comments recently about the need for Democrats to drop woke politics, and even wrote an article in November for the New York Times saying exactly that. And I'm always going to advocate for black people because I don't care about how much you talk about affordability, housing, healthcare, or whatever. If woke politics is not included in that, which directly impacts black people, then we're left out of that conversation and policy. So I made that known to the campaign as someone that has a possibility of sitting in that seat. Now, up until this comment, the conversation was going well. That's why it threw me off so much to have a white man say this to a black woman who was coming to him with concerns in relation to him for black people. That is why the multiple people and news sources that have stated that he's working with Liz Smith, a consultant that's known for smearing competitors and campaigns, sounds credible to me, even though the campaign keeps saying that they're not, even though they've stated otherwise previously. Creators talk to him both individually and collectively, and multiple of us have caught them lying to us. Now, I stand by my statements that he's way better than Kim Paxton, who's the current frontrunner for Republicans, and a terror that we're trying to protect the rest of the country from. But this isn't someone I feel comfortable being in office when we have a truly amazing candidate like Jasmine Crockett as an option. So yes, I'm voting for Jasmine Crockett for Senate, and I encourage you to do so as well.
So, hello? No, that's not okay. It's not okay. She had to turn the comments off on that video because people were being crazy. People were being crazy about it. People were harassing Morgan. The harassment that she got, especially from white folks, mainly from white folks, is insane. It's insane. And we have to just leave black women alone, truly. The thing that pisses me off the most about all of this, first of all, Morgan will never see this, but friend, you don't deserve that. You didn't deserve any of that. Secondly, black folks are going to show up to vote for Talarico because Talarico is going to be better than whatever Republican nomination there's going to be. There's a runoff between Ken Paxton and some other douche. It doesn't matter. The Democrats, Talarico is going to be better for Texas and the country than anybody the Republicans could put forward. And black people know that, and they're going to show up for him at the polls. If the tables were turned, if we turn those tables and Jasmine Crockett had done some equally disparaging thing with a campaign supporter in regards to Talarico, some microaggression or something, White people would not show up for her at the polls. They would write her off. I would put all the nickels in my pockets, which is none. I have no nickels. I'm sure I have nickels somewhere. I don't know. Because Black people historically are voting for survival, and white people have the privilege of voting based on who we feel will be the best candidate for us. And it's gross. It's gross. And it's giving, Amanda's Mild Takes posted this morning that it's giving to the year 2000 West Palm Beach vibes, and same girl. Those hanging chads are crazy. I don't like it. James Talarico, the primary was yesterday. James Talarico did win against Jasmine Crockett. The AP has been very, as they should be, they've been very nice. They've been very even-keeled when describing both Representative Crockett and James Talarico. And listen, I don't live in Texas. I live in Florida, which is arguably worse. We've got our own battles coming up. Talarico is supposedly super progressive from everything that I've read about him. And I hope so. I hope so, because the people of Texas deserve that. And I really, truly hope that the white folks of Texas will show up for the Democrats over there and start to vote the Republicans out, because Republicans have ruined their state and ours in Florida, to be honest. Now, the thing that I did love throughout the Texas primary, the thing that made me feel really good was Morgan on Threads, Morgan Be Talking and Black Girls Who Brunch. They're both in Texas. Morgan is in Dallas County and Black Girls Who Brunch is in Harris County. And so they devised a friendly rivalry to see who could have the biggest voter turnout. And I love that. Love that. And it's got me over here in Pinellas County, Florida, being who do I know in Hillsborough? Who do I know in Sarasota? Who do I know in Pasco? Let's fight about it. Let's see how many people we can get registered to vote and take to vote and go vote. It's got me really excited. This is an article from KXAN. It's an NBC affiliate. It's how many people are registered to vote in your county. Texas is consistently one of the fastest growing states in the country. Population estimates released by the U.S. Census Bureau in December show the state was home to more than 31.7 million people as of July 2025. As the population grows, so too does the number of registered voters. According to the Texas Secretary of State, more than 18.6 million Texans are registered to vote in the March 2026 primary elections, a new record high. That's incredible. Way to go, Texas. Let's fucking go. Harris County, home to Houston, added more voters than any other county, an increase of almost 195,000 over the past 4 years. Incredible. That's fucking awesome. Registered, go to vote.org and register to vote. Do it right now. I'm going to have this article linked down below if you want to go take a look at it. It is very, if you like data, this is your place. Now, Morgan also posted a video about how voter suppression is the biggest issue in Texas. It's not identity. It's not whether a Black woman could absolutely win a race in Texas. The reason why she can't is because we think she can't and we don't show up for them, which is absolute bullshit. There's a lot of misogynoir and a lot of racism that goes along with Black women running for anything. Everyone was fine when Jasmine Crockett was going after Marjorie Taylor Greene in a really hilarious and amazing way. But the minute she wants more, the minute she runs for more, the minute she asks for what she deserves and tries to further her career in the efforts to help the people of Texas and the country at large, we don't allow her to have that. And it's bullshit. And I'm going to let Morgan speak on this specifically. We're going to play this video because she's right.
The reason why people think that Texas is not able to elect a woman of color, but more specifically a Black woman, for a statewide seat is because there is a false equivalency that the candidate's race and gender is the reason why they are losing and not voter suppression. Voter suppression is the reason why we have a whole bunch of white men and MAGA running Texas's government. Texas is a majority minority state. We, people of color, make up most of Texas. When it comes to Latino voters, that does not automatically equate to a Democratic vote. I want to make that very clear. It is not the same as it is with Black people, where you can almost pretty much bet that we're going to go to the left. But when it comes to representation in this state, the things that they use in order to disenfranchise people of color in this state, the things that they do to make sure we don't have access to the ballot box, to make sure that our vote is diluted, to make sure that it is discouraging to even try, the things that they do to make sure that people don't even understand what's going on, the lengths that they have gone to make it damn near impossible to even register to vote, is why this state looks the way that it does. And it is why you believe that a woman of color, but specifically a Black woman, could not win a statewide seat. Let's start with education. That is what I focus on. That is the whole reason I make the content I do, because I knew that this would be an issue, that people's perception of the state and the way that this government in Texas has made you believe that it is automatically a disqualifying factor to be a person of color. I knew that was going to be a thing. I knew that gender was going to become a problem. I knew that people were going to think it doesn't matter and be apathetic because they were like, well, it doesn't matter because gerrymandering is preventing us from being able to do anything. When one of the biggest things that they pushed and have let run rampant is the thought that gerrymandering prevents people or impacts statewide elections. It does not. The only way it does is through voter apathy. That is it. Okay? And by the result of the people you get in office because of that gerrymandering and the things that they do. That is it. That is it. But there are people that are literally like, the state is super gerrymandered. My vote does not matter for governor, for Senate, for attorney general, because it doesn't matter, because they're going to pick who it does. My vote doesn't matter as much. So, oh well. They mess with the elections by making it to where you have to register to vote 30 days before the actual election happens for you to be able to participate in it. And you cannot register to vote online. You have to physically have a sheet of paper and you have to fill it out. You have to physically fill this out. And you have to either mail it to the voter registrar for your county, or you have to physically walk it in order to register to vote. The only other option you have is to be in contact with the voter deputy registrar, which is what I am. I'm folding it because you don't need to see my address. Because I can register people to vote. I literally have to get one of these, which is the VDR version of that white form. And these people have to fill this out. I have to rip the bottom of this off, give it to them, and me personally, have to physically take in the form that they filled out to the registrar. That is the only way, that and at the DMV, is the only ways that you can register to vote in Texas. And you have to do all of that before 30 days before an election. So that's the first hurdle to even be able to participate. Now imagine if you are working day in and day out, you have kids, you have all these responsibilities, and you are dog tired, and you are sitting here like trying to figure out what you're supposed to do with the little free time that you have. Do you really think that you're going to go through this process? How inclined do you think people are to do that? And guess who is, because a lot of that's is driven by economics, is driven by socioeconomic status. Guess who's less likely to have the free time, the energy, and the will to go through all of that to register? People of color. Then you have the actual literal education issue. You have the issue of education in the sense of people don't know how the government works here. People don't know when elections are happening. People don't know who's even running, depending on the situation. People don't have the right information. People don't know where to find information. People don't know where to vote. And in certain instances, a lot of instances, you have active politicians in the state targeting people that are trying to register people to vote. There's a literal organization that Kim Paxton was suing that was trying to, and he's trying to dissolve the organization. That is what he was trying to do in order to target them for registering Latino voters to vote. That is what their whole mission was. It was for them to go out and help Latino people in this state who are the majority of this state. They were doing the work to try to help them jump all those hurdles I just listed out. And Kim Paxton was literally trying to dissolve their organization for that reason. There was no other reason. Now he lost, and I think they're suing him now, which is good. But that is the kind of things that we are working against. And all those efforts, which I haven't even touched on all of them. Like there's the issue you have to apply to do mail-in ballots. There's the issue of them shutting down polling locations. There's been issues I've had personally where I show up to vote and location is closed. There's so many ways that they prevent Texans from voting, and it's very targeted to people of color. It is very targeted. And one of the main counties that experiences it is Harris County. And Harris County includes Houston, which is the most diverse city in the entire country. Not state, country. The whole United States. And they are constantly attacking Harris County to try to prevent them from having people show up, be able to register to vote, and be able to execute on the things that need to happen to get people to be able to use their voice and cast their vote. That is the problem, but you all are blaming it on their identity as candidates. It is very frustrating to watch all the time because I understand where you all are coming from because yes, race and sexism and misogynoir in this particular case, when we're talking about Jasmine Crockett, is an issue. It absolutely is. It adds difficulty to this whole process. But I swear to God, if you did not have the issue of access, if you did not have the issue of education, if you did not have these issues with all this shit that Republicans in the state are throwing at us, this would not even be a conversation. It would be a conversation when it comes to like the difficulty. But the digging in that people are doing, that it is not possible, is because either people are not able to show up to vote, or they choose not to show up, period, because of how difficult it is, or because they think it doesn't matter. They have been so successful, Republicans have been so successful in suppressing vote in this state that sometimes, a lot of times, people won't even bother to show up because they think it does not matter, because that is how successful they've been in it. And people like me, people like Beto O'Rourke, people like, is so many people in this state are trying to educate people, get them registered, get them to show up to vote, and like all that stuff, because that is the issue. And we've seen it because of Beto. Beto was able to drive turnout, and he almost beat Abbott. He almost beat Cruz. He's the one that has come the closest to doing that. And a big driving factor for that was turnout. That is why turnout, getting low propensity voters or voters that usually get stuck on the couch, that is why that is Jasmine Crockett's strategy, because everything else has been tried before. Voter turnout in Texas is abysmally low. We are on the bottom of the list every single time when it comes to all 50 states. That is the problem, okay? I'm sharing this information with you because I need you all to have more educated talking points when it comes to discussing political strategy and who you want to vote for. Because if it's not going to be based off of the candidate themselves, but the primary thing you are thinking about is their identity, you need to be thinking about the actual reality of the situation that is contextual and factors in numbers as well. And everything I just shared does that, okay? Jasmine Crockett can win statewide. So can Gina Hinojosa. So can all the other people of color, because we need to get people out to vote. So if you want to vote for any of these people of color, any of these women of color, do so, because they are not the issue. Voter turnout is. Republicans are. Do not make them carry the burden of the racism of these people in office. Do not make them do that.
Again, she's right. And you might be in a blue state thinking, or not even in Texas thinking like, this doesn't affect me. Why should I care? First of all, you should care about other people. You should care about the safety of other people, and politics is directly related to that. Secondly, this isn't just like Texas House seats or Texas Senate seats. These are nationwide seats. The Senate will make decisions countrywide, so it does matter. But here's the thing. It matters to people outside of Texas because they make decisions based on the whole entire country. However, the way that you help, they have to vote the Republicans out in order to make any sort of progressive change whatsoever. And the way that you help people in Texas do that is by uplifting their voices, which is what I hope is coming across here by sharing Morgan's videos. You have to elevate the voices that are doing the work on the ground in that state to get people registered to vote and turn around the voter apathy. And if you're apathetic to voting because you think your vote doesn't matter, it's selfish as fuck. And it's very privileged to do. I can only speak for me, but I vote based on who's going to help my community be better. Even if I don't agree with everything they align with, who is going to help make progressive change for my trans friends, my Black friends, my immigrant friends, people in my community who are, struggling financially, who can't afford to feed their families. Who's actually going to do that? And I'm going to tell you that it's never a Republican. It's never a Republican. It never is. And one of the comments on this video is 6 months ago, we need a fighter like Jasmine Crockett now. No, not like that. And that's basically it. That's basically it. Anyway, all of my love goes out to Morgan. Follow her, but leave her alone. Uplift her voice, but leave her alone. All right, let's talk about conservative Angelicans picking a rival leader. Are we gonna have like a religious dance off? I really hope so. It's probably too hopeful though. This is from that Reuters place. March 3rd, a grouping of conservative Anglican churches will meet in Nigeria this week to elect a leader to rival the Archbishop of Canterbury, an unprecedented step that is likely to deepen a widening theological split within the Anglican Communion. Now, I didn't know what the Anglican Communion is. No idea. So I went to their homepage, and their mission, as followers of Jesus Christ, Christians are sent into the world to live lives inspired by his love. Should his be capitalized? Or no, because it's Jesus, right? I don't know. I don't know anything. His love and teaching, and to bring that transforming and sacrificial love. Sacrificial? What are we Oh, because he died. He was the sacrifice. Okay, got it. Love into all aspects of society. They invite others to find faith and follow Jesus as disciples, inspired to live a Jesus-shaped life. My literal brain is like, hi, poo, weird. The mission of the church is the mission of Christ, to proclaim the good news of the kingdom, to teach, baptize, and nurture new believers, to respond to human need by loving service, to transform unjust structures of society, to challenge violence of every kind, and pursue peace and reconciliation, to strive to safeguard the integrity of creation, and sustain and renew the life of the earth. That's interesting. The mission and discipleship of Anglicans and I hate this word, Episcopalians, y'all will let me know if I got it wrong, are shaped, expressed, and lived out in numerous areas such as intentional discipleship, evangelism, and church planting. Church planting? I don't know. Family matters, gender justice, social justice, and indigenous issues, promoting reconciliation, youth and children's ministry, tackling poverty, mass migration, and modern slavery, theological education, relief and development, engaging with people of other Christian traditions and other faiths, care for the environment. So that sounds like, whatever. But let's take a look at what they mean by gender justice, because I'm curious. In the Anglican Communion, we are committed to ensuring that our churches become living witness to our belief that women and men are equally made in the image of God. Within the communion and beyond, we recognize that empowerment of women and men to live and work in just relationship requires a transformation among individuals and in our communities. There are 43 million women in the worldwide communion with a vast diversity of experience and gifts. This section of the Anglican Communion website serves to tell their stories and share experience while celebrate their achievements. Now, according to the Human Rights Campaign, stances of faiths on LGBTQ plus issues, the Episcopal Church. In 1976, both House of Deputies and House of Bishops voted for a fully inclusive Episcopal Church, stating that homosexual persons are children of God who have full and equal claim with all other persons upon love, acceptance, and pastoral concern and care of the Church. Canon law includes gender identity or expression in its list of people who are assured full access to the ministry of the Church. The law further specifies that administrative forms must include options, both preferred and legal names, and for gender identity and pronoun preference, and an intentional move towards diversity, it adds. As transgender people and their families increasingly come out within or find their way to congregations, their specific naming in our canons will encourage congregations to deepen their understanding and widen their welcome. This is interesting. I was not expecting to find that information on the Anglican Church, to be honest. Back to rooters. The Global Anglican Future Conference, CAFCON, which brings together conservative churches, mainly in Africa and Asia, opposes liberal shifts in parts of the communion, including the ordination of women and greater inclusion of LGBTQ members. The group protested the Church of England's appointment last October of its first woman archbishop in Canterbury, Sarah Mullally. In a statement, CAFCON said its Global Primaries Council would elect a chairman to be announced on Thursday to serve as primus inter pares, first among equals, to replace the role traditionally held by the Archbishop of Canterbury. CAFCON, formed in 2008, says it now represents a majority of the world's practicing Anglicans. The communion is made up of 46 autonomous churches, with the Church of England historically regarded as Mother Church. That's not weird at all. So it seems that the conservatives within the Anglicans they're seeing all of the progressive shifts within the church, and they're like, nah, we don't like that, which is fucking weird. It is like, why are you worried? Why does it matter? Patriarchy doesn't help anyone, including men. And this is a very like patriarchal view that only men can be ordained and lead a church, that only men can be that close to God, even though women are the ones who like create and hold and form life, right? It is the lengths that conservatives will go and the mental gymnastics that they have to do, especially conservative women, to like fit into this kind of box that women are lesser than, or that they don't deserve the same things as men, or that gay folks don't deserve the same, or trans folks don't deserve the same things as men, is weird. Anyway, good on the Episcopalians for being more progressive of the Christians. Good for y'all. That's nice. Love that for you. The last thing we're going to talk about is the comments section. When you go viral, don't read the comments. Don't do it. I was called a lesbian poet, and I just like, literally, if you are a woman on the internet and you're not a conservative, doesn't matter. You share a view that even if you're not a Democrat or you're not left leaning, if you share a view that is outside of their tiny little realm of racism and homophobia and transphobia and xenophobia and all the phobias, their two little brain cells inside their troglodyte head are going to fight over which one gets to call you fat first. Like, and it's so weird. Like, someone called me a liberal white woman communist. Like, you don't even know what those words mean, my dude. Like, that makes no sense. But like, you can't explain that to these folks. And yes, some of them are bots, but even the bots are astroturfing. And I talked about this on the Patreon. Astroturfing is when bots are set up on a campaign to spread misinformation or disinformation, or start talking points that are simply not true. And when you're in a comment section and you don't have strong critical thinking skills and you see 100 people saying the same thing, your brain will say, oh, this must be true if these 100 people are saying it, without using your brain and saying, oh, is this true? Maybe I should check that. And so the bots are doing that. So then the little feeble-minded conservatives will be like, oh, well, all of these people are saying this and this aligns with my morals and viewpoints. I'm going to go with this. Same thing happens with insults. It's the same insults over and over again. You're old, you're fat, you're a lesbian. Well, like, okay, none of those are insults to me. Spoiler alert, you can't hurt me. You're not even real, Timothy. So just don't read the comments. Just don't read them. I promise you, it's not worth it. And I refuse to. But my analytics look real good. They look real good. And you know why? Because the conservatives won't stop calling me ugly. Fine. If that's the thing that helps me get sponsors and helps me be able to pay my bills, they can call me ugly all day. I care enough to tell people that I care about to not read the comment section. Like, I don't even know the last video I made on Israel and US's latest. It had over like 1,300 comments on Facebook. And I just know I'm not gonna go look at that. Don't care. I'm not going to do it. And I encourage you to adjust your mindset to this as well. There is no amount of arguing with people you don't know online who potentially could be bots or heavily affected by the astroturfing of bots. There is no amount of arguing with them that's going to change their minds. And listen, if you're a content creator and you're doing it for the views because you need the money or whatever, then fine. Do whatever you want. But if you're not, and you're just a person with a normal 9 to 5 or whatever, and you only have so much energy to do things, do not spend your energy fighting with people online. Don't do it. Your energy is best served making sure your family's registered to vote, making sure your community is registering to vote, getting in the face of your crazy aunt or uncle or brother or sister who still believes that these pedophiles should be running our country. That's where your energy is better suited. You can only change someone's mind if they respect you and care about your opinion. These online silly boys and girls and maybe some thems, I don't know, they do not care about my opinion. I'm not going to waste my time arguing with them. I also don't care about their opinion. I don't argue with Nazis. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this podcast. This is going to be like the normal format. Last week, I was really obsessed with these birds and I needed to talk about them. If you haven't gone and watched my bird video, you can watch it on YouTube and see my face, or you can go listen to the last episode of the podcast. The kakapo is just so cute. It's such a cute bird. Go look at the birds. For the love of God, let's all just go. You don't have to touch grass. I understand. Going outside I'm in Florida. It's February and it's 80 fucking degrees. I hate it here. It's the worst. Maybe I'm not going outside, but I'm looking at the birds. Thank you so much for being here. Please join the Patreon. Or share this episode with a friend. Please rate the episode if you're listening on Spotify or Apple Music. Leave a comment down below. Let me know like what your thoughts are on voter suppression. Join the Patreon if you can. Join at a paid tier. That really helps me to be able to keep doing this. I will also leave my YouTube links and all my social links below. Everything I talked about, all the articles will be linked down below as well. Thank you for being here. And if you were watching the video, Coco thanks you too. Oh, it does a big stretch, baby. Girl. Okay, love you, bye.